Am I the antagonist for getting my wife the appliance she has been asking for months for her birthday? I've been a reader for a long time, but this is my first time posting. We don't have much extra money due to the current state of the economy, but I wanted to indulge and buy my wife a special birthday present this year. In the past, I have bought her gifts that she said she wanted, but they would end up being used once and then forgotten on a shelf. So this year, I wanted to get her something that she would actually use. She really enjoys fancy coffee drinks, you know, the ones that take a while to describe. Like non-fat, venti, mocha, frothed, cruelty-free with a lemon twist, you get the idea. Her mother has one of those specialty espresso frothing machines at her house, and my wife has been saying how much she wants one since we visited her mother this summer. So I made up my mind to get her a really good one and surprise her. Let me tell you, these machines are expensive. To give some context, I'm a simple guy. When I order coffee, I just want it black. So any basic coffee maker works for me, and our Mr. Coffee has served us well. I spent a couple of months saving and doing research, and I found what I thought was an amazing machine. I placed the order, but unfortunately, while my wife was using my phone, a notification popped up saying that the machine had been shipped. I had no idea because I was outside chopping up some firewood in the backyard. She called me into the house, and in a distressed state, asked if I had gotten her this barista espresso machine for her birthday. Initially, I was a bit surprised, then disappointed that she found out before her birthday, but I reluctantly admitted that I had. She burst into tears and then became angry, saying she didn't want appliances for her birthday. I have to admit, I didn't really know how to respond. She then added, "I want something just for me, not something that anyone can use." I was completely shocked. She had been expressing her desire for a machine like this multiple times a week for months. She stormed into the house after giving me back my phone and proceeded to text me links to articles with titles like, "Don't give your wife appliances as gifts." I'd never even considered that, as I usually ask for power tools, things we can use together, or nothing at all for birthdays. But ever since she said that and sent me those articles, I have been doubting myself. So, am I the asshole for getting my wife a barista espresso machine for her birthday? You had good intentions and listened to your wife's desires. It's understandable that you wanted to surprise her with something she had been expressing interest in for months. It's unfortunate that she found out before her birthday and reacted negatively, but it seems like a miscommunication or a change of heart on her part. Additionally, she should have communicated her preferences clearly instead of assuming you knew she didn't want appliances. You did your best to make her happy, and it's not fair for her to be angry and upset instead of appreciating the effort you put into the gift. Am I the antagonist for not wanting a random man in my tent? I, a 21-year-old female, went to a music festival with my two friends, both 24-year-old females. This happened in late August. One of my friends, let's call her Anna, and I are in relationships, while the other friend, let's call her Stina, is not. Stina enjoys casual relationships, which I have no issue with. However, her constant need for male attention can be annoying at times. She is known in our friend group for quickly getting involved with guys, causing panic among us, and then blaming us for leaving her in dangerous situations. When she is surrounded by a group of guys, her behavior changes dramatically. She starts belittling the other girls in our group to appear more desirable, and consistently flirts with guys who are in relationships. Some people might describe her as a pick-me girl. Now that you have some context about Stina's behavior, let's move on to the story. We were all having a great time partying at the festival. It was around 3 a.m. and Anna and I wanted to go back to our tent and call it a night. However, Stina wasn't ready to leave. She had bumped into a group of people she knew from her hometown and seemed to be enjoying herself with them. We informed her that we were leaving and told her to contact us if she needed anything. At around 6 a.m., I woke up to laughter, kissing, and a lot of movement. I didn't want to create a scene, so I pretended to be asleep until the guy accidentally fell on my back. I lost my temper and shouted at them to leave the tent and continue whatever they were doing in the car. The guy apologized, but Stina laughed at me and told me to relax, claiming they weren't doing anything and were just waiting for a taxi to go to his place, which was somewhat close by. Given the time and location, Iceland, during such a large festival, it was unlikely that a taxi would be available for at least another 4 hours. I became even angrier and informed them that I didn't want this stranger in our shared tent. It was far from safe, and if they didn't leave, I would contact the campsite security. Eventually, both of them left, and I went back to sleep since I was intoxicated and had already been awake for nearly 24 hours. Remarkably, Anna slept through the entire ordeal, likely due to her own level of intoxication. The following day, Stina was nowhere to be found. We called her, and she informed us that she would find her own way back to the city. So Anna and I packed her belongings and drove home. Now, over a month later, Stina is still upset with me for kicking her out of the tent and supposedly putting her in danger. However, I never insisted that she leave the tent. I simply wanted the man to leave. My friends believe I overreacted because they weren't engaged in sexual activity or anything of that sort. Am I the asshole in this situation? Stina's behavior has put you and your friends in multiple uncomfortable and potentially dangerous situations before, so it is understandable that you didn't want a random man in your shared tent. You were looking out for your own safety and well-being, and it was not unreasonable for you to express your concerns about having a stranger in close proximity to you while you were sleeping. Stina's reaction and lack of regard for your feelings further validate your decision. It's unfortunate that she is still holding a grudge, but it seems like the issue stems from her own insecurities and actions rather than something you did wrong. Am I the antagonist for telling my grandma to stay in her lane and stop being entitled? I am a 22-year-old woman, and I have a 26-year-old sister who is currently 36 weeks pregnant. Our grandmother, who is 79 years old, is incredibly excited because this will be her first great-grandchild. However, our grandma has a tendency to overstep boundaries. She does not believe in respecting personal space, even when my sister has clearly expressed her discomfort with having her back randomly rubbed. Grandma insists that she can do whatever she wants because she is the grandmother. She has also bombarded my sister with invasive questions about the pregnancy, even when my sister has made it clear that she is not comfortable discussing certain topics. Grandma feels entitled to this information and believes it is her right to know. We have discussed our concerns with our mom, but she dismisses it, chalking it up to our grandmother's age. My sister recently discussed her birth plan with our family. She expressed that she only wants her boyfriend and herself in the delivery room. No one else. Not even our mom. Due to feeling unwell throughout her entire pregnancy, my sister knows that labor will be a challenging time for her, and she does not want others witnessing her in such a vulnerable state. When my sister conveyed this to Grandma, she apologized profusely and explained her wishes. However, Grandma initially thought she was joking, and when she realized my sister was serious, she became upset. Grandma questioned how my sister could deprive her of the experience of witnessing the birth of her great-grandchild. She accused my sister of being selfish and continued to cry about it. My sister reiterated that she values her privacy, but Grandma insisted that privacy should not apply to grandmothers. This conversation took place 2 weeks ago. Since then, Grandma has bombarded us, our mom, and my sister's boyfriend with numerous calls and texts, demanding that she be present in the delivery room because it is her right as a grandmother. She has a history of using this argument. We saw Grandma again 3 days ago, and she continued to bring up the matter, becoming emotional once again. She cried, accusing my sister of cruelty toward her own grandmother. My sister became increasingly angry and upset, eventually yelling at Grandma. I tried to communicate our concerns in a less confrontational manner, but Grandma refused to listen. Eventually, I told her that she needed to respect my sister's boundaries, and that it was ultimately my sister's decision who is present during the birth. This statement shocked Grandma, and she burst into tears and hysterics. She accused us of mistreating her and claimed that I have permanently damaged our relationship. She left, and we have not heard from her since. My sister fully supports my stance and even thanked me for standing up for her. However, our mom believes I was too harsh, calling my actions a B-teach move. Our dad also found out and criticized me harshly over the phone. Our parents are not together. Both of them genuinely think that I have irreparably damaged our relationship with Grandma. I need an objective opinion. Am I the asshole? You were not too harsh in standing up for your sister's boundaries and privacy during her delivery. Your grandma has repeatedly shown a lack of respect for your sister's wishes and boundaries, and it is important to establish and reinforce those boundaries. Your grandma's entitlement and insistence on being present in the delivery room against your sister's wishes is not justified. It is your sister's right to decide who is present during such an intimate and vulnerable moment. Your mom's dismissive response and your dad's reaction are unfortunate, as they should be supporting your sister's choices and defending her boundaries. By standing up for your sister, you were showing her support and protecting her rights. Am I the antagonist for telling my mother that if she wants me to change my homecoming outfit, then she's going to have to pay for it or pay me half of the cost? My high school homecoming is this Saturday, and I decided that I wanted to go again because the first time I went, it wasn't that fun. Wanting to make better memories, I asked my mom if I can go, but she says I have to pay for my ticket. I was a little upset, but it wouldn't hurt my account. I have a little over $416 in my savings that I'm using to buy a monitor, not buying it until I have around $800, so my savings isn't empty. The ticket was $16.25, so I got over it quick. My mom asks me what I'm going to wear, and I say, "Oh, I'm just going to use the same one from last year. I can probably still fit it." She gets upset because I'm not going all out, even though I don't like being the center of attention, nor do I have a date to even put in the effort to look that good. They all look the same, but with a different price tag anyway. My mom then tries to tell me that I'm making a mistake and how I need a better suit so I'm not wearing something different. I ask her how I'm going to pay for it because I'm saving for a new computer, and I have to be cheap for a little bit so I can replace my slow buggy computer. I've sent it to get repaired, but it came back worse, so I gave up. I ask her if she's going to pay for it, and she gets upset and tells me that I have to buy it. I offer that we split the cost, and she declines again. So I tell her, "Mom, if you aren't going to help me buy it, I'm not going to buy a whole new suit. I'm just going to reuse my last suit. I really don't need to buy anything else if it still fits. At most, I need a new shirt. If it wasn't obvious, I hate buying new clothes and only buy something if the other one is ripped or worn down. This suit was only put on once, so I'm okay with using it again. I don't know how much she bought it for because she refused to tell me the price. All I know is that it wasn't cheap. She told me that she just wanted her young man to be well-dressed, and I said I felt well-dressed. She then got my sister on my case and thought that I should buy a cheap suit at the least and tried to guilt-trip me into going with her. Once again, I said no and said that I should go to the last store we went to when I bought the suit. But I declined because the workers tried to make me look flamboyant, and their inputs were uncomfortable to wear and rarely fit. So I picked a white shirt and black pants in my size at random so I could go home, and luckily it was perfect. So now my mom and sister think I'm being a picky a-hole about it because I don't want to go clothes shopping with them and buy something with my money. They've been trying to convince me that it was worth it for the past week. You're entitled to make decisions about how you want to spend your money and how you want to dress for the event. It is understandable that you want to save for a new computer and prioritize that over buying a new suit. Additionally, your dislike for clothes shopping and not wanting to go with your mom and sister is a personal preference and not inherently wrong. It seems like your mom and sister may be overreacting and putting unnecessary pressure on you. Am I the antagonist for treating my stepson differently to my biological son? I am a 38-year-old mother to my biological son Kai, who is 10 years old, and I am also a stepmother to my husband James's son from his first marriage, Luca, who is 12 years old. This subject has caused some arguments within our family, so I am seeking some honest opinions. James and I have Luca every Thursday, every other weekend, and during parts of school holidays. Luca's mother has remarried a wealthy man, so Luca is fortunate to have nice belongings, such as designer clothes, gaming consoles, and the opportunity to go on luxurious vacations with them. While we are not struggling financially, we do not have a lot of extra money at the moment. In December, I would like James, Kai, and myself to go on a holiday because we have not had a chance to get away this year. James believes that Luca should come along because he thinks it would be unfair if Kai goes on a holiday without Luca. However, Luca has already been on 2 fancy vacations abroad this year with his mother and stepfather, and it would be a financial strain for us to pay for flights, meals, etc., for a 4th person. We did not really argue about this, as I believe that if James can find the money, then Luca should definitely come. But it is more about this perceived unfairness that I disagree with. The logic of fairness would imply that it is also unfair to Kai that he did not get to go on 3 holidays this year. I do not believe this is true. I'm just pointing out that the logic can apply both ways. The issue of unfairness arose again last week when I bought Kai a Nintendo Switch because he performed well in school. I did not have the money at the end of the school year, but I do now. James argued that giving big presents to one child and not the other is again unfair. It did not matter that Kai's gift was a reward and that Luca already has a Nintendo Switch, but rather that I cannot treat them differently. James also brought up the fact that I occasionally take Kai to the cinema on Tuesdays or Wednesdays using our car insurance's 2-for-1 ticket offer, but I do not take Luca on Thursdays when he is with us. This is seen as treating them unfairly, even though it is solely due to the cost of tickets for 4 people. Of course, Luca goes to the cinema regularly with his mother and stepfather. So now I am being labeled a bad stepmother because of these examples, and I am incredibly frustrated by it. I love Luca, and I'm not trying to exclude him in any way, but our children are in different situations, and it is not necessarily fair to Kai to not do nice things for him if we cannot always do it for both of them. James has been rather mean. He has a somewhat volatile temper, and has suggested that I am not happy to have Luca as my stepson, which is not true at all. Am I the asshole in this situation? It seems like you are doing your best to provide for your children and make fair decisions given your financial limitations. Firstly, it's not fair to compare the number of holidays each child has gone on. It's not a contest, and each child's circumstances are different. It's important to explain this to James and make him understand that it's not about treating the children differently, but rather making decisions based on what is feasible for your family at the moment. It might be helpful to have a conversation about setting realistic expectations for holidays and special treats. Furthermore, it's unfair for James to label you as a bad stepmother or suggest that you are not happy to have Luca as your stepson. Your actions and concerns show that you care for both children, but you also have to consider the financial aspect. It's important for James to respect your perspective and decisions as a mother. In terms of the cinema outings, it's a cost issue, and it's understandable that you can't afford to bring both children every time. If Luca already has the opportunity to go to the cinema with his mother and stepfather, it's not unreasonable for Kai to have some special outings with just the 2 of you. Overall, it's important to communicate openly and honestly with James. Make sure he understands the financial limitations and that you are trying your best to provide for your children. Encourage him to consider the unique circumstances of each child and aim for fair decisions rather than equal treatment in every aspect. Am I the antagonist for uninviting my best friend to my wedding? I recently got engaged to my fiancé. My friend Hannah and I have been close since school. She got with her boyfriend Rob the same year as I got with my fiancé. She routinely complains about how inconsiderate and insensitive Rob is. She's a sensitive person, so he really can be nasty, though she mostly excuses it as banter. I keep my opinions to myself because I just want her to be happy and don't want to draw a wedge between us. We sent out invites for our party, Hannah texted to check the time, saying they'd be late as Rob had plans but she might come up earlier with their baby. I said great and no problem. I went to see Hannah, Rob, and the baby 3 days before the party. Rob was rude from the beginning, told me he didn't like my new haircut, criticized my arrangements which he found excessive, and said that Hannah would never get a flower cloud if they got engaged. He complained about the attire and refused to wear a shirt despite Hannah offering to iron one for him. I asked what time they'd be arriving. They said 7:30 p.m. because Rob likes to chat after the football. Then there's getting changed and driving. I joked that he should skip the football for one day, since he goes every weekend and watches every match on TV. He asked why he would do that, and I said because it's my engagement party. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "And I don't care?" No laughter, just a shrug. I said he should be more supportive of his girlfriend, and she said nothing. Later in the car, I asked her to be my bridesmaid. She said she wouldn't have been offended if she hadn't been chosen because she knows I wouldn't take it personally if she didn't pick me. It's just one of those things. I awkwardly agreed. I went on to say that I felt Rob had been a bit rude. If he doesn't care, he doesn't have to come, and I'm not very happy with them being 3 hours late. She excused him, said it's banter, he didn't mean it, he was trying to wind me up. She then tells me that the plans she can't get away from are a small-town football club match, and he does the live Twitter updates for it. I get home and tell my fiancé, who's livid and says Rob's no longer invited. He's rude and was only Hannah's +1 anyways. I know he's right and is saving me the upset of Rob making a dig at the party. I text Hannah and say, I know this is awkward. I'm really upset about what was said earlier, and I think it's best if Rob sits this one out. I love you. I hope you understand and still want to be involved. She responds to say that this would have been sorted if I just brought it up at the house. It was only banter, I'm being unfair by banishing her baby's father, and I have put her in a terrible position. She says she has to choose between us, and if they can't all come together, then she won't be coming either. He texts me, but I don't respond because I'm busy. The next day she texts to say she'll sit it out with Rob. I tell her she can sit out the rest of the events and the wedding in that case, essentially ending our friendship over this idiot. Am I the asshole? As your friend, Hannah should have acknowledged the disrespect and supported you instead of making excuses for him. Your decision to disinvite Rob from the engagement party seems justified, as it is your celebration and you should feel comfortable with the guests present. However, it does seem like you may have escalated the situation by uninviting Hannah from future events and ending the friendship entirely. While it is important to establish boundaries and stand up for yourself, it may be worth reconsidering if severing the friendship completely is necessary. Taking some space and having a conversation to express your feelings to Hannah could potentially help resolve the issue and salvage the friendship. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.